What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. And here we are, you and me together again for another Tabletop Takeout Tuesday, my friends. Thank you so much for coming back, or if this is your first time checking us out, thank you for doing that as well. I'm glad to see that we have some new subscribers, and that's awesome, and I hope we garner some more. And if you're new here, you should check out our playlist. I got tons of things in the playlist, all categorized out from our What's in the Pixie's box unboxings to these two Tabletop Takeout Tuesdays, the Midday Monologue Mondays, the live playthroughs. They're all playlisted out, so go find something you like. Now here is something I like, and if you're here, I'm assuming you saw the thumbnail, so you must like this as well. What I'm going to do here today is I'm going to bring us all up to date, because not everyone is a backer, not everyone is on their social media sites to know exactly what Hasbro is doing, so I'm here to fill in the gaps, and if there's anything I missed that you heard, please put it in the comments. Alright everyone, while we get down to the table, and we're going to talk about HeroQuest, what we know so far. Some of us are old enough, like myself, to remember when the original HeroQuest hit the market. We remember the commercials, both on TV and in the comic books and in the gaming magazines. This game captured our attention in a way that Dungeon couldn't, because this was a real dungeon-style quest, dungeon crawl, while Dungeon itself seemed light. It seemed like just a basic, stripped down, super stripped down to its underwear version of an RPG, of Dungeons and Dragons. While HeroQuest did a much better job, at the time, arguably perhaps or at least one of the best attempts to capture the lightning of Dungeons and Dragons in a board game bottle. Now, back in early 2020, actually, plans and everything probably started before that, Hasbro's HasLab decided to recreate the classic and much looked for and fondly remembered HeroQuest board game. Now, they decided to crowdfund this, but they did not go the route of Kickstarter. They used their own crowdfunding source site called Hasbro Pulse in order to raise the money. Now, they had originally asked for $1 million by backers to be able to produce this game. They generated under $4 million. $3,722,099, I think was the actual number, if I got that right in my notes. And they proceeded on with the game. Now, that didn't get quite all the stretch goals, as Kickstarter puts it. It kind of missed the last two, but we'll get to that. This funding was officially ended on November 6th of 2020, and the game allegedly went into production right there. They say shipping is going to be expected in fall of 2021. I'm not sure where the game is being manufactured. That's going to play a major role on whether they can get it out on time like they want to. If this is going to be a ship journey overseas from China, then there may be a long delay, as we know, because of shipping containers being kind of rare right now. If it's being produced more locally, then perhaps they will get it out on time. So this had a crowdfunding of 2 different levels, 2 different tiers, as it was called. You have your basic tier, which they called Heroic, and then the deluxe tier, which they called their Mythic Tier level. Now the Heroic went for $99 American, while the Mythic went for $149 American. There was a bit of a difference between the two. The Heroic is the base form of the game, the most, basic, the box, the rules, the miniatures that are supposed to come with it, furniture pieces, exactly what you're supposed to get. And from what the producers of the games have said so far, they really didn't do much to change anything, rule-wise. This game is practically, for all intents and purposes, gonna be just a reissuing with better production of the original game. So the basic Heroic is coming with, I believe, 70 or 71 miniature pieces. This includes monsters, heroes, as well as furniture pieces. Now the heroes, you have our basic familiar heroes from the game. We have our barbarian, we have our dwarf, we have our elf, and our wizard. What they did was they added an extra miniature for each of them. So each of the base 4 miniatures that come with the Heroic tier and the Mythic tier have a male and female version of them, which is great. Now, if you remember the old game, I think it was the very first adventure in the game, you had to save Sir Ragnar. You had to go save him. And what they did was they added an extra bonus miniature, which I'm not sure is going to be available in the retail version, but I'm actually going to get to that also. That's coming up. Let me talk about this first, and I'll talk about the retail versions. But yeah, you're going to get a little miniature for Sir Ragnar, which is cool. I think it's a little unneeded, unless there's an adventure where you can use him as a hero in it later on. Just to have a miniature of, somebody that's been captured by the monsters that you're saving. I don't know. It's okay. I'm glad they have it, but I don't see a huge need for it. But it's cool. Now, I mentioned that there's going to be furniture pieces. If you're not familiar with the original game, that's a little bonus that all of us players, owners of the game, absolutely adored. A few of mine still have survived, and I use them for any fantasy D&D style game I'm playing. I'll use them to liven things up with the rest of my terrain pieces. Now, the original pieces had plastic bases, like the fireplace had a plastic base. But the fireplace itself was a piece of cardboard that you just slotted into the plastic base. They've gotten away with the cardboard parts of the furniture for this new, revised, updated 2020-2021 version of the game. So they're all plastic pieces. They're all resin, whatever it is, but they're all solid, unpainted pieces. Which I both like and don't like. I don't like the fact that they're unpainted. Then again, none of the miniatures in this game are. There's different colors to the different sets. Like goblins have a color, the mummies will have a color, and so on. Aberrations have their own color, so on and so on, just like the original base game did. But having the furniture pieces unpainted is going to be a little bit of an eyesore for me. And it's not a big deal if you're a miniature painter, but if you're not like me, yeah, it could be a little bit of an eyesore. I actually wouldn't mind looking up, see if anyone's selling replacement pieces for the furniture of the original game and getting those instead. Because at least the cardboard pieces for it are fully colored, and that's going to look better to me anyway. But that's what they're doing with the furniture pieces on this update. So I mentioned there's also a Mythic Tier level that we had an option of backing. I don't believe this is going to be sold in retail at all because of the way it's set up. But again, I'm going to get to the retail sale of it probably right after I discuss this. So the Mythic version, the Mythic Tier level, is everything I just explained. It's the basic box set with everything that comes with it. And it's also going to come with 2 expansions. Revisited, updated versions of Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch King. There's also going to be 2 exclusive figures that come with this. One for Mentor. Mentor is the wizard that has sent your party out on these quests. There's also going to be a miniature for the Witch King himself. And it's also going to be having some new door pieces, some new furniture door pieces that I've seen that kind of look a little eerie and cool. So that's nice. I think overall it's like a total of like 31 new miniatures for monsters and furniture that we're getting between the 2 expansions that are coming with the game for the Mythic level, the Mythic Tier. Now, one more thing I want to mention about the Mythic Tier. I know you're waiting to hear what I have to say about the retail sale versions, I bet. But there's a lot of, on Kickstarter, they would be called stretch goals that were unlocked. But these are only unlocked for people that paid for the Mythic Tier level. Unless they've done something to change that ruling since I originally backed it, the heroic tier level is not getting any of the unlocked bonuses. And they're pretty cool, actually. Let me go over the list. I had to make a note. There's no way I remember all of this. Let me go over the list. So there is a Warlock hero with a new miniature and information card, character card for him. There are 6 extra combat dice, 2 extra skeletons, 2 extra goblins. There's an extra quest book called The Prophecy of Telor, and that's by Stephen Baker. If you don't know the name, Stephen Baker's the guy who originally designed HeroQuest. And they tapped him and brought him back for some projects on this. I think that's awesome. There's also going to be 2 extra zombie miniatures, a druid hero, 2 extra orcs, 2 extra abominations, 2 extra dread warriors, 1 extra dread sorcerer. Now, on a side note, let me just say that they did bring in over $3,700,000 into this campaign. If they had reached $4 million, there were 2 other tier levels of additions that were going to be added on, but they didn't make it. Now, I'm mentioning these for a reason. So it was supposed to be an extra quest book and an extra figure, the book of 10 quests, and a miniature dragon, which from the pictures as you see, I think looks spectacular. Now, the miniatures in the game are all based on the 28mm scale, so they will be compatible with most other game systems if you want to use them in other game systems, or the miniatures from other game systems to here. I don't know why you'd need to, but you have the option. Okay, now, for retail version of the game, it doesn't look like there's going to be any retail version of the Mythic Tier level. I imagine that they will sell Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch King separately later in the year after it drops as expansions, but to be able to get it all together in the package with the Mythic Tier level bonus stuff, I doubt. Maybe the Mythic Tier level bonus stuff will be an expansion in and of itself, making a 3rd expansion for the game later on. But, all that kind of sucks for us that bought it beforehand, because now we have to wait even longer and longer and longer for any kind of cool expansion to come out that we don't already have. But that's just guesswork. I mean, I seriously don't think they're going to package it all together for a retail sale on that. But it's still just a guess. I haven't heard anything, read anything, or been told anything specifically about that. I have read and heard conflicting reports about the base game, the heroic tier version of the game, and retail sales. Originally, several months ago, I heard that there was going to be none. Yeah, I know, right? I heard there was going to be no retail sale of this game, and the only way you were going to be able to get it was to be one of the backers, that Hasbro was making this a collector's item. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't really think it is. Because one, if you're underage, cover your ears. It's a dick move. I can't say it any nicer than that. It definitely is. But especially since they didn't advertise it that way. But another thing that has occurred to me was not too long ago they announced that there's going to be an app, a phone app available for this game. Basically to run as the game master and as Zargon, and allowing you to solo the game or play with other players, and everyone gets to play instead of one person having to be the game master for it. And I'm not sure if they would have bothered developing an app if it was just going to be whatever we are, a few thousand, tens of thousands of people that back this to make this happen. Yeah, it just seems like there's going to be retail sale. I haven't heard. Now, the reason this is all guesswork and from me and other people is nothing official has been said by Hasbro. Now, one person I did read said that they heard that there's going to be a retail sale version of the Heroic Tier base core game in Europe that's going for something like €140, 150 euro just for the base game itself. Maybe not that much, but almost. Ridiculous amount for just the base game. I don't think that's true. I can't see why they would be selling it for that much more than they are on their. I want to keep calling it Kickstarter, but it's not on their site to promote the game, to make the game. What's it called? Hasbro Pulse, right? I don't know. Just that doesn't seem right. So I wouldn't put any, I wouldn't hold any water to that if you've read or heard that as well. Let's just wait until we hear something official from Hasbro about the retail version of this game and how much it's going to cost, where it's going to be sold, before we start making these crazy assumptions. But if you've heard anything official, like I said in the beginning of this video, please put it in the comments. I'm dying to know, and I'm sure anyone who's watching this video would also like to know any information that you also have on this. Now, there's been nothing said about further expansions from the game. However, if you know anything about the history of HeroQuest, it's begging. It is literally begging for more expansions. Part of me thinks that, yeah, a lot of everything happened with COVID and the shipping and production of everything over the last year definitely may have put a, bad taste in some publishers' mouths about rushing anything out right now. But this game has such a strong history of growth, of growing through expansions. It would be a complete disservice if Hasbro doesn't. So I got my fingers crossed on that. That's everything on my notes that I was able to find about what's dropping for Hasbro, what's going on. Everything I know so far, now you know. So thank you for checking this out. I'm your buddy Big John at G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and I am